Hey guys, it's Chad. Wanted to take a second to just kind of critique some things and see if we make you guys better rowers. Possibly also share this with the other group. But anyways, let's look at a couple things real quick. First off, we have Mike here, looking to be in a pretty good position. Definitely reaching pretty far out there, pretty far forward. Head's nice and neutral, all that good stuff. Only thing I could see, we know that he's a little tight, kind of in this area, so the heels are popping up just a little bit. We like to keep those things relatively flat. If they come up just a little bit, that's not too bad. Also seeing a little bit of rounding here. We just know we're kind of tight in the posterior. So overall, not too bad. Looking at the drive, pretty awesome. So what you guys should have seen there is that he straightens the legs and gets that little hip swing before he starts to pull with the arms. Pretty good stuff there. Finishes in a nice position, not leaning back too far. Overall, very, very nice. Let's see. Ooh, look at that handle away before the knees straighten. That's pretty good stuff right there. And a really good indicator of that is watching the chain here, trying to see if it stays nice and flat the whole time. So overall, pretty good stuff there. Looking pretty nice. Let's go forward just a little bit. There we go. All right, here's Z. All right, so Z does a good job getting the handle away. Very nice before the knees start to bend. Very, very good. Comes pretty darn far forward there, close to the chain guard. I would probably like to see her a little more in that region. Another thing too, check out the shins here. They're past vertical. So I'd like for her to, kind of have her hips back this way, and then we'll see slightly more vertical shins there, which is going to give her a little bit better positioning so that she can create power a little bit easier. First thing I noticed there is watch her back angle here, is that it opens first. You guys see that? So since she was so far forward, I would like to see her just a little bit more back. And then that way, we want to think about basically kind of keeping this back angle as long as we can. And so then we need to see the knees kind of move back first instead of that kind of hip opening there a little bit. And then basically once her legs get straight, her hips have already opened there. That angle is already opened. Instead of if we get the knees relatively straight first, and then we still have that big swing this way, which helps create a little bit more power. But overall, doing a good job, keeping the arms nice and straight. Already talked about getting the handle away. That's pretty nice. So, good stuff. She rose a few. Moving on over to Mr. Josh here. Okay. So, what is that? We got to fix that, sir. Need you sitting up just a little bit taller. Pulls the handle to a good position. Oop, do you guys see the knees there? Watch the knees start to bend first. Got to be careful about that because otherwise we'll have to go over them instead of being able. So what I'd like to see is knees stay down a little bit longer there, and then the handle can get past nice and straight without having to go over those guys. So be careful about that. Comes to this position here. We can see that shins are a little past vertical. So I would like to him, if he had his butt back just a little bit more, kind of in this region. He could keep his shins just slightly more vertical, put him in a stronger position, and kind of flatten that back out. Those would be the big things. So overall, not too bad. There does a good job kind of waiting, and here's what we talked about. You can see that he kind of extends the legs and then opens the hips. That's pretty nice. Leaning back, maybe just a touch too much. Overall, not too bad, though. So pretty nice. All right, Mr. Allen here. So let's see what we got going on. So overall, a little bit slow getting the handle away. You can see it just kind of creeps away versus I'd like to, before those knees start to bend, I'd like to have the handle already passed. Comes forward a little bit. And you can see, again, just trying to work on that straight back. Trying to get the shins just a little more vertical, so keeping the hips back just a little bit. So maybe reaching forward just a touch too much, and you can see the heels kind of pretty high there, like we talked about. But again, just trying to loosen up that posterior. The biggest cue here is just remember to sit tall. I use that as a joke, saying that rowing is an Ivy League sport and you have to look good while you do it. But overall, it's a really good cue for getting people to keep their back straight. So remember, sit tall, keep your back straight, and it's going to help you keep your hips back a little bit more so that we don't come too far forward. And last here is Miss Tammy, so let's see what we got going on here. So this position looks kind of familiar, right? Still working on that straight back. And here's a really good angle where you guys can see what the shins look like if they're a little too far forward. So we want to have those things pretty much vertical. So about right there would be a slightly stronger position. So it does a good job keeping the hip angle closed there. That looks nice. She's really patient with that, and then once she gets there, then she starts to open the hips. That's really good. That's good stuff. Creates a lot of power, but leaning back maybe a touch too far. Again, maybe a little something like that would be a little bit better. And then the knees are bending just a touch early. You can see right there where she's kind of having to just go over just a little bit. But remember, rowing's one of those super repetitive things. So the more efficient you are, the less energy you waste on each stroke. It really starts to add up. So let's just make sure. Let's get to another stroke. So when she's here, what I should see is the opposite, right? So if we were to watch this in reverse, so that's in reverse, right? You see the handle clears the knees, no problem. We should see the same thing this way, but what we see is they're getting pretty close to each other there. So if we just keep those knees down just a little bit longer, not too shabby whatsoever.